It's hard to know who to trust in e-commerce. I'm sure most of you have had the experience of being burnt by an agency or finding out that your favorite guru is a complete fraud. In fact, even just being left underwhelmed by a service or course that you paid for. Well, in this video, I'm going to help you spot the frauds and fake it till you make it by revealing the sneaky sales tactics that make their performance look way better than it actually is and hook you into parting with your money. So let's jump in and check out these tricks right now. So the first sneaky trick that I see is people promoting November results. And I'm gonna explain why that is. November contains Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And for a lot of e-commerce businesses, probably even most, especially if they're in the US, November being Black Friday, Cyber Monday is one of their best months and generally the best month of the year. You know, people take an absolute rush in spending. It's no longer Christmas. This is the lead up to Christmas. Black Friday seems to be the bigger month for e-commerce these days. And you see a typical pattern where it starts off at the start of the month, you know, ramping up and then just goes crazy at the end of the month. What people then try and do is they'll take screenshots of November and they'll talk about some new system they've introduced, and then they'll show you a screenshot of it taking off in this graph, but they never show you what happens in December. And I will bet what happens in December is it drops. Not saying that they're bad, because that is something that everyone will see, you know, you post-sale fatigue you'll have, but they're purposely not showing that to make whatever they were doing look better when really you can't tell if it was good or not, because there's going to be that hysteria in everyone's graph. So this graph on the left, that is something someone was actually trying to do on Twitter. And this one on the right is just one of many I can find by Googling November Shopify sales, because this is the same graph that everyone has. Starts off and heads right up to the end of the month, okay? And certainly all the brands I was running sales with, they have these same graphs, right? So watch out for that one. If people are showing you November results, they might be doing good things, that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with showing November's results, but you want to see other months' results as well before making your decision, because it's an atypical month, okay? The second thing is showing Ads Manager ROAS screenshots. This is something that I have to see all the time on my own Instagram stories or feed. And I'm always just rolling my eyes because someone will screen share their Facebook Ads Manager. They'll show you some crazy high ROAS. And I'm looking at it going, this is absolute bullshit. And yeah, anyone that's been led by this obviously doesn't understand the platforms, because it is meaningless, right? So any brand that is running other sales channels, Google, the most common one, but Microsoft Ads, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever, email, are going to have inflated ROAS in Ads Manager. The reason for that is because of the attribution settings in Facebook Ads Manager. They're essentially going to claim all the sales that are coming from these other platforms if someone has had an interaction with your ads. Because of the attribution settings, 7-day click, 1-day view by default, you're going to be pulling in all these people who really have converted via email or Google or something, but because in that same time span they have done something and been remarketed to by Facebook, Facebook's then going to claim that. So for example, let's say someone buys from your email. Well, to buy from the email, they have to visit your website. The pixel's then going to see that, oh, there's someone hot on your website, like looking to buy right now. And or the API even, whatever, it is going to then show them. So let's say they go through it and then purchase the product. Well, that day they're going to get served ads by Meta. Because it's a 7-day period that it can have the attribution window, it's going to say, well, on this day, they looked at an ad and they made a purchase. So therefore, Meta was the reason for the sale, even though it might have been the email, right? So they might have looked at the email, done something, come back, finished the purchase, but in that time they took a wee look at Instagram, because we're just, you know, we're all ADHD these days and we have to do things like this, and you know, Meta's now taken claim of that sale. So you can't trust these numbers. They're always inflated in a multi-channel business, and that means one of two things about the person doing this. Either they know this and they are being deceitful because they know this doesn't mean anything and they're trying to impress you with results that, you know, aren't theirs to show. It's not their performance that's getting this sky high ROAS for this business. that's not the actual ROAS of their Facebook ads for the business. It's probably not the actual ROAS of the business. And then on the other hand, if they don't realize that's the case, you should probably be even more worried, because it means they don't know what they're doing. And why should you be paying them money if they don't know something that's very simple and crucial, especially these days when attribution is a lot harder on the platforms, and really for success, you're probably going to be running a multi-channel environment in e-commerce, right? Next thing is suspicious sales totals compared to graphs. So I don't know if any of you know this, but you can manipulate what is shown on any website by going into inspect, right clicking and doing inspect, and then you can play with what it's showing. And people will do this for Shopify sales, like screenshots, where you can come into the inspect element thing here, and then you can change what number is shown here. So I've gone into one of my graphs and just changed this to 100,000 as an example. But what Shopify does is it also always has a graph, and the increments of the lines horizontally across are going to change based on how many sales you're actually having. So you can see here, I've put £100,000 in here, but you know, the graph ratio is like maximum £600. So I could only have £600 in one day, which means there's no way in a month period I could get to £100,000, right? So that's something you need to watch out for. This is like an absolute obvious one because it's so extreme, but there's some where it's harder to tell. Someone can easily add an extra 100K to 200K or 200K to 500K to make things look better. So just be very mindful of that if you're really doing your due diligence and you're taking actual note of these kind of graphs. Have a little look, see if you see anything suspicious. This is generally not going to be agencies doing this. Like, I don't think agencies are doing this. They have plenty of case studies. That's more the thing they use to advertise themselves. But certainly dropshippers are someone you want to watch out for doing this, because that's something that I think in the past I have seen them do. Well, I've not seen it, but I've heard of them doing. And certainly where I learned about this is from people in that kind of space, right? So yeah, be careful of that as well. And I have one final one for you, and that is extremely low retainers. You get what you pay for. Yes, you can be paying too much for certain agencies, but you can also be paying too little. And I see this on Upwork all the time. The amount people are offering, if you go and look at Upwork, just isn't enough to get a good agency. If you want something done right, you have to be able to pay the amount for it, or you're better off doing it yourself, okay? So like if you're paying under 2K, I mean, you know, 1.5K, maybe you could get someone good for it, but generally I think if it's under 2K, you're not paying someone who is skilled, even if they live in a cheap country, because the market is open. Anyone can take sales from anywhere, especially something like Facebook ads where you don't need to have presentation skills. You know, it's not like a forward-facing role like someone doing sales or something. They could just sit and do the data, right? So yeah, if someone's charging you less than 2K, or you're trying to pay someone less than 2K, I think you're better off just learning it and doing it yourself, because you're not paying enough to pay for quality and you're just throwing away that 2K anyway, versus actually paying someone enough money and getting it done right. But of course, some situations, you know, your product's not proven or you're not sure what to do yet. So you don't want to waste so much money, but then in that case, yeah, you definitely should be doing this yourself. So just my 2 cents, but client expectation, client budget, it's a meme that we always see, but it's so true. You have to pay for quality. Thanks for watching. If you're struggling with Facebook ads or you're looking to outsource it, but you're worried about getting burnt, in both cases, I recommend upscaling your Facebook ads knowledge, and you can run the ads yourself, or you can spot anyone that is talking nonsense. And despite what you might think, Facebook ads really don't take that long to learn. The real lever to pull is in the creative. So you're best learning how to do the ads and then saving your budget for more good quality creative. So if this is something you're interested in and you want to learn from a trustworthy source, I do have an affordable Facebook ads course that will reveal the secrets that I'm using to scale 7- and 8-figure brands. So click the link in the description and you can go and check that out. But until the next video, have a good week, and I'll see you very soon.